These are the 7 of the biggest plot holes in the Amazing World of Gumball. Starting with the Watterson family's impossible financial situation that seems to defy all logic because it quite literally does. The Watterson family's magical money problems. The Watterson family's money stuff has always been just weird. Nicole works at the Rainbow Factory doing whatever they do there. And Richard sits on the couch all day like it's his job, and somehow he's really good at it. Yet somehow they live in this nice house that probably costs a ton of money. And I'm starting to think they're either secretly rich or really good at not paying bills. But wait, it gets even weirder when you really think about it. Because in Season 1 episode, the DVD, the family is so broke they can't even afford to pay a late fee at the video store. Nicole goes absolutely crazy over what's probably like $3. And look, I get it because late fees are just stores stealing your money with extra steps. Yet in other episodes, they're buying new furniture like it's no big deal. Going on family trips that would bankrupt most families, and the kids are always getting new toys like Christmas happens every Tuesday. The show even acknowledges this financial schizophrenia sometimes, like when Richard mentions they're poor in one scene, and then immediately afterwards he's ordering enough takeout to feed an entire army. It's like the writers have a magic 8-ball that they shake before each episode to decide if the family has money or not. And that 8-ball is definitely broken because the answers make about as much sense as Richard trying to get a job. Now, even cartoon logic has to have some kind of rules, right? Well, apparently not when it comes to Darwin's origin story. Darwin's impossible evolution story. Darwin supposedly evolved from a pet goldfish into a walking, talking orange fish boy. Well, feels like absolute nonsense. So, in this early episodes, we see that Darwin was just a regular pet goldfish that Gumball loved so much that he somehow grew legs and lungs and became part of the family. Which is sweet, but also totally impossible like in a million different ways. The show acts like it happened over time because of love or friendship or whatever Disney magic they're using. But then we see flashbacks where Darwin is already walking around and talking when he's supposed to still be swimming in circles like a normal fish. But here is where things get really confusing and make you question everything you know about biology. Darwin remembers being a fish, but he also has memory of doing things that would be impossible for a goldfish to do unless goldfish have secretly been holding out onto this whole time. Like in Season 2, The Flakers, he talks about experiences he had before growing legs, but these experiences involve him doing activities that require opposable thumbs and the ability to die immediately upon leaving water. Either Darwin is some kind of superfish or the writers don't really know how fish work. Now, if you thought Darwin's fish thing was confusing, wait till we talk about the school layout that changes every single episode. The ever-changing layout of Elmore Junior High. Elmore Junior High is apparently made of some kind of magic shape-shifting stuff because rooms appear and disappear more often than Richard's motivation to get a job. In some episodes, the cafeteria is right next to the main hallway where you'd expect it to be, but in the other episodes, characters have to embark on what feels like a cross-country hiking expedition through 3 different corridors, past a gym, around the mysterious janitor's closet that may or may not be a portal to another dimension, just to get some questionable school lunch. And don't even get me started on Principal Brown's office, which has apparently achieved the impossible feat of existing in multiple locations simultaneously. Sometimes it's on the first floor like a normal office, sometimes it's upstairs like they moved it during a commercial break, and occasionally it seems to exist in a completely different zip code altogether. The weirdest part is that the characters never seem confused about these crazy changes. Like they just accept that their school moves rooms around wherever it feels like it, which happens more often than Richard thinks about getting a job. I mean, how does these kids ever find their classes without getting lost? Did they just walk around till they find the right room or what? Now we step into the Watterson house and get lost easily. The Watterson house's impossible architecture. Speaking of things that don't make sense, the Watterson house seems to have been designed by someone who's really bad at math. From the outside, it looks like a normal house, but once inside, you step inside, it feels like you've entered some kind of magic world, from where rooms can get bigger than the entire house. In some episodes, Gumball and Darwin's bedroom looks reasonably sized for two kids who actually need to sleep in it. But then in other episodes, it transforms into something bigger than most people's entire apartments, massive enough to fit elaborate obstacle courses, entire dance sequences, and probably a small aircraft if they really want to test the limits. And somehow their parents' bedroom is both right next to theirs when the story needs it, and also way across the house when the kids need privacy to plan whatever dumb thing they're going to do next. But wait, there's more weird house stuff. Sometimes the house has a basement where Richard stores his collection of broken dreams and exercise equipment he never uses. Sometimes it doesn't exist at all, and sometimes there are rooms that only show up when the story needs them. It's like the house is playing hide and seek with itself, and honestly, I'm starting to think the Wattersons don't actually live in a house, but in some kind of magic place where nothing has to make sense. Characters who exist only when convenient. Now let's talk about the population of Elmore, which seems to fluctuate more than Richard's weight after a diet attempt. There are characters who show up for one episode, become best friends with the main cast, and then vanish forever as though it never existed in the first place. Take characters like Hot Dog Guy, who sometimes is treated like he's been part of the community since the dawn of time and knows everyone's deepest secrets, and other times acts like he's meeting everyone for the first time and probably doesn't even remember his own name. Or what about all those background students at school who sometimes have detailed names, complex personalities, and full backstories? And other times are just faceless crowd fillers who exist solely to make the school look populated. Like extras in a movie who forgot that they were supposed to be acting. The weirdest part is that when characters talk about stuff or people we've never seen before, like they're talking about old friends or things that happened when we weren't watching. It's like there's this whole other version of the show that we never get to see. And sometimes the characters accidentally mention it and confuse everyone. But perhaps the biggest plot hole of it all is how the show can never decide what kind of universe it wants to be in. Sometimes it's a realistic world where characters face real problems for their doings, and other times it's a complete cartoon where anything can happen and nobody even cares about it. The inconsistent rules of reality. In some episodes, characters get hurt and actually have to deal with it like normal people, complete with bandages and recovery time and probably complaining about how much Band-Aid costs these days. But then other episodes will have them falling off super tall buildings, getting smashed by cars or blowing up into tiny pieces and then totally fine by the next scene like nothing happened. And the technology thing, it's just weird. They have modern phones and internet in some scenes, but when you see them using those old spinning dial phones and VHS tapes like we're back in 90s, when people had to rewind movies, that's what I'm talking about. It's like Elmore existed in all time periods at once. Which might explain why nothing else makes sense either. But hey, maybe this absolute nonsense is exactly what makes it so entertaining in the first place. You never know what's going to follow logical rules and what's going to leave you scratching your head in confusion like you just try to understand one of Richard's get-rich-quick schemes. And at least the show is consistently inconsistent, which is more than we can say for most things in life. And honestly, in a world where nothing makes sense, maybe the fact that nothing makes sense is the only thing that actually makes perfect sense. So there you have it, folks. 7 plot holes so big that they make the Grand Canyon look like a small crack in the sidewalk. But at least we can all agree that watching Gumball lead this nonsensical world is way more fun than trying to figure out how any of it actually works. Hey, don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this journey into cartoon chaos, and to subscribe if you want more videos about shows that make your brain hurt in the best possible way. Adios.